Freelance, you know.
So, hello everyone, once again. If you're here and you can hear me, kindly just drop something on the chat. Okay, fine, good. Somto Chukwu and Ridwan Oladile are here. Good evening to you guys. My sincere apologies once again. I don't intend to be coming to class late. It's a very bad habit. But sometimes I think issues that are a bit beyond our control put us in situations like this. Okay, so fine. I want to believe today's audio is a lot legible and not as bad as the day where we had to be going back and forth on it. So, if the audio is also clear, just say yes. Just type a yes in the chat box. I think that will do the magic for me. At least I know that I'm communicating with people. Okay. Okay. So now, looks like we're all here, and let me see. Let me see. Just 1 minute, please, everyone. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay. So I am back. Now, tonight's class is going to be a very short one. I hope I can really make it short because at the end of the day, I think most times I tend to overshoot my time frame. But considering the fact I'm starting late and a lot of people probably just want to go to bed already because we've wasted a lot of time, I'm going to roll through the topic for today. So basically, what I'm trying to do, the last class we had was talked about an introduction to relational database management systems. And the reason why I said earlier that we were going to talk about RDBMSs was because a relational database is like the primary data source that you use for your data analytics. Okay. Um, so, and that was why I started out with relational database management systems. All right. Now, if you look back at the scheme of work that we have on the Telegram group, I know it's a little bit different to how we've been able to run the class so far. But all in all, we're going to try to stick to, as much as possible, we're going to try to stick to the that scheme of work. So, in this scheme of work, um, while I did not show you everything in that scheme of work um, earlier, this is I've not even finished developing it because there's still a few things I think I want to put in through. But so if you can see it right now, this is data analytics and data science learning path, data analytics essentials, relational database management systems, which was what we did last week. So basically, we've like jumped our class. All right. Um, but right now in today's class, I'm touching this part. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, we might not really be able to run through this class to the end, but we will continue it tomorrow. I want us to try as much as possible to keep this to a 1 hour max time frame. So this is 9:36. Hopefully by 10:36 we should be rounding up. I'm sure people want to go to church tomorrow. Anyways, once again, my name is Aditayo Kolade. I'm a data scientist and data analyst with MIHS Stars. Um, I started out this project, putting it on, Twitter last year, and I have one person or one partner who has really pushed this very well, and who has been supportive on this. We are partners on this together. Her name is Fumi Owoye. She's a service manager at Keystone, and she's also a data analytics professional. So let's dive right into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about an introduction to data analytics. Now, I'm bringing this up because I believe that What good is it if you are starting out a course, or if you're starting out a learning path or a learning process, and you are not very well aware of the fundamentals or the things that you would need to know, or the primary reason, like, okay, I want to be a data analyst, I want to start a career in data analytics, but what is it really all about? There's a general problem I think we have in Nigeria where people just want to go with the trends. What's the new buzz? What's the exciting thing in town? What is everybody doing now? Or what makes more money? I think that's another thing. Reason I think I've learned why people go into certain courses in Nigeria. So, for example, you've been in whatever, you've been IT, you've been in history, you've been in certain aspects of life as you know as a professional, and then all of a sudden you're trying to do the next big thing. You're trying to position yourself for better employment, right? You're trying to position yourself for a career growth, to climb up the ladder. And I think in most cases you find Nigerians running out to what's the new fad in town, and trying to bump up their CVs with whatever it is. Now, well, this is for you if that's your case. At the same time, this is for you if you feel that you just want to, do something different. Now, I will be starting out this, and I think I'll show us through the slides basically. So, well, the objectives of this is to first of all get introduced to the basic concepts of in data analytics, right? Secondly, to understand the basic processing, storage, and programming models for data analytics, and also to understand the different phases of data analytics projects. Okay, so, well, like I said, we're introducing you to the concepts of data analytics, and we're starting out, like I said earlier, I drew up a scheme of work, and the essence of this particular class is really to focus on the first point on these objectives, to get introduced to the basic concepts in data analytics. This will give you an idea, an understanding of the need for data analytics, an understanding of the reason why it seems to be so much of a fad right now, why everybody seems to be running through to data analytics. Everybody wants a new perspective on data and so on. So that's like the primary essence of this class. Um, I am going to say one thing. I think I had that report before. There's a particular report I'm going to try and share with all of us. It's quite unfortunate. My second computer is not here. It's been away for a while. But there's a particular document I want to get for you on there. It's a World Economic Forum report called "The Future of Jobs," or the Future of Jobs. It tries to detail out what will happen in the next 10, 15 years, how the overall landscape of jobs is going to change, and why there's so much craze or so much noise or so much effort into concepts of data analytics, or why data analytics seems to be like um, the in thing right now. Okay, so without further ado, let me jump into the next slide on here. Now, so well, towards so basically, right, one of the big reasons why we have so much noise about data analytics, or why we have so much buzz around data analytics, is smart technologies. Okay, um, I made a mistake with this slide. I'll still edit that. I did some of these things in a rush. Okay, but well, basically, you have a time, or we're in a time, or we're in a world where on demand on demand services are like the thing, right? You have an avalanche of data coming in from sensors, smart sensors, from smartphones, from smart cities, from different. You have in virtually almost everywhere nowadays. You have sensors that take data and report them to certain servers. Your mobile phone is a buzzing sensor on its own. Your Some of you have smart fridges in your homes give you um, give you data on what you have in your fridge and so on. Some of you have Alexa in your house that uses data from your uses data from around you to turn on and turn off your lighting systems and so on. So you have a very very large array of smart technologies all around. You have smart buildings, smart homes, smart environments, smart automobiles. In fact, basically, um, you are in the age of the Internet of Things. So, like I said earlier, you are in a world where there's so much data coming in from so many sources, and you we we're using these data or all of these data sets or this data, this avalanche of data to create better things or to even to optimize service delivery to you as individuals. The concept of Google Maps today has its fundamentals in data analytics because you have data from different sensors, mobile phones everywhere. Your GPS data, your location data is combined together to sent back to Google and used to create maps or traffic situation on the roads and so on. So you have data coming in from different places. You have data that you put in on Facebook. You have data that you put into websites where you go to browse and so on, and they use that data to inform the kind of offerings or product offerings they give to you. Okay, just a minute, please. Um, okay, so that's the concept of smart cities or smart technologies. Now, on to the next one. Now you have analytics technologies for making perfect performance decisions on all sectors. Yeah, business, medicine, social networks, bioinformatics, geoinformatics, sports. I'm sure a lot of, well, I don't know how many people on this on this class right now are avid Bet Niger or betting fans, but you'll be surprised that even every single person, even the funniest of all, what's it called? The funniest of all um, pontiers, that like they call themselves, the guys who play Bet Niger avidly are big time data analysts. Okay, they take data from previous games and then they join all of that together to predict what's going to happen next. In the little corners of themselves or their homes, they are basically data analysts. Okay, um, but of course, the level to which everybody does their data analysis is a bit different. Now you have websites like your Stats Radar and all those websites that support you with um, with data. Sorry, excuse me, please. You have all those sites that support you with data from games, and then you use that. Basically, what these guys do is they mine that data and then sell it back to you. Sometimes for free because you pay for adverts. I mean, you browse on their sites and that traffic generates adverts. Sometimes it's offered as a premium service, but basically, right, you have that platform too where you you have data being used. So you have data being used in different aspects of of life and of the world. Um, you you I mean from social media. So even on social networks, your data on Twitter, your data on Facebook, your data on everywhere is being used to generate insights for other people, right? So even politics, during the election cycles, you have people using multiple. I think there's no better application of that than during the U.S. election cycles. I'm sure for those of us who follow politics, international politics very well, you see during election periods during in the U.S., you see a lot of buzz going on around with regards to data and using all of that data to make predictions on where the votes will swing to and so on. So, anyways, the second point here says where information mounted in associated and massive data is obtained using techniques and technologies conceptualized as data analytics. So you have a bulk of tools, techniques, technologies, skill sets that go into the entire data analytics um, the entire data analytics life cycle, right? You have different tools that you use. You have the Excel, which is like the most basic and the most common tool for most small businesses. You have people using SQL and so on. Anyways, the overall com the overall arrangement or the togetherness of all of those things, the data you use, the tools, the skills you use, the machine learning algorithms you throw onto, the statistics, the elements of statistics and advanced mathematics you throw onto your data are what you know concept now under the broad term for data analytics. All right. Now on to the next one. You so I brought up this. I'm sorry, this is not very, very, very clear, but I took this picture from Google, and what I was trying to point out one of the applications of data analytics, right? With data analytics, with you have. I'm sure some of you have gone online before, and then maybe you bought a TV from Konga or something, and then after you bought a TV, they suggested to you that you might also be interested. Um, okay, please kindly signify that I'm still audible enough and my video is a little bit clear. I'm sure the picture showing here is not very clear, but at least you can see a little bit because I'm getting a message here saying YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. So I want to be sure that I am still communicating with you guys. Okay, so I'll continue. It says so. Basically, like I was saying earlier, there are times you make a purchase on a shopping website, right? And then, or maybe over time, you've gone there today to buy. You bought a TV today. Tomorrow, you bought let's say a DVD player. I'm sure the next time you're going to that site, it's probably just going to recommend to you that you might be interested in certain DVDs or home videos and so on. Or let me use a more common example. You use for those of us who use Spotify. I use Spotify. I think I cheat my way through it, but I use Spotify anyways in Nigeria. And for those of us who use Apple Music, you probably listen to a few songs and then all of a sudden it starts sending you another set of songs. It's basically what is kind of described here a little bit. But so what I'm showing you here basically is you have you have marketers or I mean sellers and so on who use data from your social media, network data provided by your service providers, data from your customer service from their customer service desk. So of course you go there, you buy something, they record some of your data, and all of these things I packed together into one big through one big funnel and used to give you multiple options, right? The back end here is that data is being gathered, right? When it passes through that funnel, it's more or less like you're throwing it through a particular data analytics process, right? And based on all of the results generated from that analysis, they can send out to you whether via reports, via email, things that they expect or they think that, excuse me, would be good enough for you or that you will be interested in, right? Now, this is a very, very loose definition for data analytics, right? But I'm going to just put this out there. It's actually very hard to come up with a very, very concrete definition for data analytics, basically. But this is just like something loose like that. So data, when suitably filtered and analyzed along with other related data sources and the suitable analytics applied, can provide valuable information to organizations, industries, business, medicine, health, blah blah blah, in the form of prediction, recommendation, decision, and the likes. So the thing about data analytics is for every data analytics process or for every stage in the data analytics process, right? There is there's an outcome or there is something you are trying to achieve from that process, right? Now, in most okay, yes, yes, basically discussed earlier, but I just want to run through this. So you have predictive, prescriptive, descriptive analytics, which I'm going to push to you later. But so basically, right, you just have you can either be making a decision from the results of your data analysis, or you could be making a prediction into the future, okay, or you could be making a recommendation for in your data analytics process. You, like I said earlier, could be making a decision or you could be making a prediction, right? Sometimes you go through historical data from your organization and you say, okay, last year we sold 500 pieces of jackets during, like I'm talking about for a sales, let's say for a supermarket, for example, now. And then they go, okay, so last year we sold 500 pieces of jackets in December. December is like winter period, right? And then in April we sold just 10 jackets, but we sold more of sweatshirts in 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 May, let's say May, because May is like summer. So of course it means that this year it will be wise for us to stock more of sweatshirts in March, I mean in May, and more of jackets in December, right? You're basically making a decision based on the results of last year's data that you gathered and analyzed. You could be making a prediction. Now, a prediction is okay, if 2 years ago we sold 20 pieces of t-shirts in May, and we sold 15 pieces of t-shirts in May of the previous year, and we sold 15 pieces of t-shirts in May of the also previous year, we can assume or predict that this year we're going to sell 15 pieces of t-shirts during in May of this year. Now you're trying to use your historical data to make a prediction into the future, and that's what this last line basically is about: the form of prediction, recommendation, decision, and the likes. Next, I'm going to go to that. Now, business analytics. Okay, so while we talk so much about data analytics, we make reference to data analytics, we make reference to, um, we talk so much about data analytics, but I think one of the biggest applications of data analytics is in business analytics itself. All right. Um, Business analytics, that's where you get to, because now in most cases, who uses the bulk of data, anyways? Who generates most of the data? Um, the bulk of the data really comes from. Oh, sorry, 1 minute, please. I hope I didn't skip this slide. Okay, okay, okay. So let me take this slide first of all. Um, I think I skipped this erroneously. So, of course, like we saw earlier, um, we discussed earlier during the talk on data analytics. I said you're getting a lot of data. So this is your data from multiple data sources. It goes into a bucket of tools and techniques, right? Tools like let's say Power BI or SPSS or Stata and so on, or Excel, whatever tools you want to use for your analytics. And then with also techniques, so you throw in maybe a bit of machine learning, you put in this algorithm, you throw a k-means or a Bayesian. We'll talk about all of these things later. These are like, I'm just talking about machine learning algorithms basically, but you throw a bit of tools and techniques into it, and then it gives you business insights. Okay, so solutions to your business problems or business plans. So solutions to your business problems could be in form of decision making based on the fact that okay, you've noticed so and so based on the data you gathered, or planning your business in form of predictions. Okay, that's looking into the future. Please, before I go further again, I would like you to ask questions at any point in time. If there's anything you are not satisfied with, if there's anything I'm saying that you have an objection to, if there's anything I'm saying that you want to ask a question about, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment box. Okay? Um, I don't want us to wait till the end of the class before we start asking questions, because sometimes you get to miss a lot in that process. All right. So, like I said earlier, data being moved into a bucket of tools and techniques, and then you getting business insights out of that. So, basically, business analytics involves business planning, making business insights, or arriving at solutions for business problems using the information and statistics from relevant or associated data sources by applying different tools and techniques. Wow. So this is a very long, description, which I don't even think is very important, but of course it's important in one way or the other. So, like I was saying earlier, so like I said something before that, who gathers the bulk of data anyways? Who is involved in the bulk of data gathering? It's mostly businesses. Yes, some researchers, universities could go as well ahead to gather data, right? That they use to, they analyze and then use to make decisions on how well, conducting research and, coming up with solutions to certain problems. But in most cases, you have data being gathered mostly by organizations, mostly by enterprises who are looking to either improve their business processes or looking to make decisions on the past or rectify the problems they might be facing and so on. So basically, business analytics is like the very biggest aspect of data analytics. So you have business analytics or business intelligence analysis. I'm sure you, if in your quest for probably data analytics roles, you've probably seen roles like BI analyst or data analyst or business analyst. Of course, a business analyst is a little bit different from, in fact, it's very different from a business intelligence analyst. But business analytics basically talks about you know planning and making business decisions from data that you've gathered. All right. Now, putting that at the back of your mind, it is good to note that. So now it says the data associated with an analytics problem can be from social networks, relevant databases, spreadsheets, etc. These data are then identified, gathered, and organized, subjected to analysis using tools and techniques. Now, I want to ask a question and I would want everybody to answer. So let me give you an example. Let me give you a scenario, right? I am, I am MTN, for example. My organization is MTN. I have approximately 60 million subscribers, right? Who are scattered across. And please, this question I'm asking, I'm going to look at the answers. I want you to just type in your answers and I want to, compare a few things. I will use your answers to judge a few things, but of course, I'm not going to. This is not a yabbing session, anyways. So, I am MTN, for example. I have 60 million subscribers scattered all over Nigeria, right? And every one of them, let's assume all of them make phone calls in a day, and then from those phone calls they make, I take record of certain things. I record the number that made the call, the number that received the call. I record the duration of that call. I record the location from which the call was made, and I record the destination of the call. What tool will be best for me to handle and store all of that data? Okay, I'll be waiting for your answers in the chat box. At least I know there are like 25 people currently viewing this, or yeah, around 25 people currently viewing this, and so I will want to know. I want to know from you what will be my best option. What kind of tool will be the best option for me to organize all of that data? I'm not talking about the collection process. I'm talking about the storage process. No answers. Okay, somebody's saying Excel. Okay, I'm waiting. Somebody has answered. I'm waiting for more answers. In the meantime, I'm drinking water. Just in case you are hearing my throat going tulum tulum. Okay, okay, okay. So I'm getting answers. I'm getting answers. Okay. So that we don't drag for too long. The person that answered Excel, you were wrong. Um, well, SQL on its own is not a tool. It's not a tool for data storage. SQL is just a programming language, or it's a language that you use to query your database. Augustine, you got the correct answer. I would say a relational database. Okay, so Sharif came up back with the correct answer as an RTVMS. Okay, so yes, 60 million rows, 60 million records is actually a lot of data, basically. If you compare, if you say you have 60 million people and we assume that all of those 60 million people made phone calls, it means that you have 60 million, at least 60 million records. Okay, that's assuming that they all made just one phone call each and not multiple phone calls. We're assuming that that's 60 million records. Okay, so now with 60 million records, of course you can't throw 60 million records in a Microsoft Excel document because the limit for that is 1 million. And even as an enterprise, it's it's not convenient to store data in Excel, because your data is coming from different sources, probably your servers, your sorry, just a minute, please, just a minute. I'm trying to fix up my mic. I have a little bit of problem with that. Okay, yeah. So we have more answers coming in, which are quite correct. Thank you. Relational database, RDBMS, like MySQL, so SQL Server or Oracle. Yeah. So I think this was one of the things we discussed in the last class, right? About relational databases and why they are so applicable to, or why they are so useful. And so now I think you can see the essence of last class now. An RDBMS is your primary data source in most big data analytics projects, right? Which is, so it's very essential for you to know what how an RDBMS works, which we did last class. Anyways, so in collecting all of this data, right, um, that you require for your data analytics project, right? You have your data coming in from different places. It could be from, so for example, I could go on Facebook, for example, and try and extract what people are talking about today. Okay, I could go on Facebook and do a dump of what people are talking about. That probably informs me about the current trends, right? The current trends for the day, what people seem to be talking about, what people seem to be interested in, and I could use that data to you know, I could use that data to make decisions on what products to serve my customers today. Or let's say on Facebook, people are talking about. Okay, now let me give you an example. For those of you who are on Twitter or who are very active on Twitter, you've noticed that sometimes a trend pops up, right? Maybe somebody's talking about something, and then you see a marketing campaign that comes along the lines of that thread. Let's say you remember when there was Beggars Waja, and I think I can't remember who came up with an advert, right? Like, you don't need to stress yourself to bit from Beggars Waja. I can't remember, but there was something like that coming up. So, um, like we said, your data for your analytics campaign can, or for your analytics project, could be from social networks, databases, or spreadsheets. Spreadsheet data is generally very small. These data are identified, gathered, and organized subjects to analysis using tools and techniques. We talked about that tools and techniques earlier. Now, the tools and techniques can be statistical models or machine learning concepts. Tools and techniques involved are for descriptive, prescriptive, discovery, and or prescriptive analytics. We will talk about all of these stages or types of analytics in some later slides, but this is just to give you an idea. So, for example, you in Excel, for example, which is the tool most of us get to use, I'm sure when you have all of your data and then you're trying to run a bit of analysis on it, the most common tool you throw into it is a pivot table, right? You you take a pivot table, and what does a pivot table do basically? A pivot table runs just some basic statistical analysis on your data, giving you things like the sum, the mean, the average, the count, right? Some basic statistical data of your, I mean, statistical result, I mean, analysis of your data. That's what a pivot table does. So in Excel, basically, you are throwing in, I won't call it a statistical model, basically, but you are throwing in some elements of statistics into your data and coming up with certain insights, right? For machine learning, of course, that's something that we will deal with much later as we progress in this series. Okay, but of course, by the time we're getting to machine learning, we would have actually covered a lot. You could throw in machine learning algorithms on your data, which make your work a little bit simpler. But of course, learning up those algorithms could be a little bit of stress. But we'll get to that point. All right. So, summary from here, what I'm going to tell you. Let me see my next slide. So, summary from here, this introduction to business analytics is that number one, your business analytics is essential for you to do proper planning or make proper decisions as an organization. You, as a data analyst, will be responsible for using the data you get from your organization to analyze it, right? You'll be responsible for analyzing it and using that data to provide recommendations to your organization, or using that data to plan for business cases ahead, or using that data to advise your business on, okay, this is the next step to take, this is the next thing to do, this is what we can do better, this is what we need to do best, and so on. By the way, please, my apologies for those who rarely come into, who don't really like coming into the group. I didn't drop a message on the channel. I hope they really, got this. Wow. Okay, so let me go back because I know there are some people who rarely come into the group because they don't like the clutter here. So I have gone to drop the message on the channel. I'm sorry for them. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so let me go back to the class. Yeah. Okay, so the okay, so like I was saying earlier, you as a data analyst will be involved with generating insights or making recommendations to your organization, right? That's it, data associated. So like I said in summary, that's your number one role or essence. Of course, you'll be getting your data from multiple sources. Now, sometimes, right, as a data analyst, the the initial data sets you have from your organization might not even give you enough um, enough insights as to what you need to do correctly or why certain things are happening. Let me give you an example. So I want to look for a practical example that touches base at home. So let's say you run a bus company in Lagos, right? Let's assume that you are the one responsible for BRT, for example. You run BRT, and you have a comment box or a complaint box where people can drop in comments on a daily basis, right? And then you use their complaints or their comments to make better decisions or to make better um, to improve your service delivery as the BRT operator. So you have this comment box that people drop, and then people have been dropping comments for like um, a whole year, and you run a basic analysis on that comment on those comments, and then you are seeing that you're getting negative reviews or people seem to complain more on certain days. Okay, now from the data you have stored in your database or stored in your in your servers, you might not really be able to determine why exactly people seem to be complaining more on certain days. And let me tell you why. Because the data you are collecting probably does not factor into consideration external or environmental factors. So let's say January, February, March. Of course, there's global warming now, so what I want to say might not really tally very well. And you have a situation where the rains are not as steady as or regular as they used to be. But let's say, for example, you notice that in the you might notice that in the heavy rain months, people will be complaining more, probably because they forgot their umbrella at home and then they got drenched by the rain, and then in transferring their aggression or whatever, they put their comments or their complaints on the bus company, right? So I'm saying this because there's been a practical example of this kind of situation before, but I just want to make it hit home where, somebody said that he ran an analysis on why people were complaining more on certain days or certain times of the year. And he had looked at all the data they had gathered. I mean, from data on on ticket sales, from data on journeys, locations, and so on, pick up and drop off locations. But he couldn't really see anything until he picked up weather data and put it into the mix. And he was able to see that okay, the days they had more complaints were on days where rain fell heavily, and then people could not really move around well, or they had issues with the rain, and it affected the ratings or their comments on the complaint box. So, like I said, the data associated with your analytics project could come in from different places. Okay, it could be coming in from multiple data sources, sometimes social media. And then lastly, I said that tools and techniques can be different types of tools and techniques, statistic models or machine learning algorithms, or just basic mathematics, additions and subtractions, and so on. All right. Now, applications of business analytics. Well, I think I spoke about this a little bit extensively in the first two slides. All right. but I don't want. It looks like I'm repeating too much of my talk, but maybe I'm just trying to drive the point home. Okay, so personalized marketing, like we said earlier, bringing you recommendations based on what you've done before. Mobile advertising, using data from multiple sources or your mobile phone to suggest things to you, right? Medical analytics. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about medical analytics here now. There's this current trend all over the world where, based on data that's been gathered, or maybe I'll talk about this in the next slide. But so, so bioinformatics analytics and medical analytics basically have like a pari passu kind of relationship where you have researchers using data gathered from medical cases and data gathered from basic bioinformatics surveys and using that to make better and more informed decisions in diagnosis, right? In diagnosis and treatment of illnesses. In fact, you'll be shocked to know that today a an AI system has a 20% higher detection rate of lung cancer than human doctors. Of course, it didn't come from just sleeping and waking up. It came from several years of data gathering and analyzing that data. We'll talk about that later. Smart data analytics, like we said earlier, the data that you're getting from sensors and so on. So, I don't know if any one of us here really understands the concept of a smart city. I'll make that a task for us. Okay, please read up on smart cities. I know I gave an assignment last time. I even just remembered that right now, but I'm going to just beg us. Sometimes the assignments I give are not necessarily for me to ask you questions about data, but it's just I want you to read up on certain things and then improve on your knowledge base or think of how you can apply that knowledge you gain into your career. Now, I want us to read up on smart cities. If there's anybody who has an idea of the concept of smart cities, you can post it in the chat box. If you do not, you should just take a little bit of time out to read up on what a smart city is about. I'll give you a basic example. Smart cities basically encompass communities or cities where like sensors are being deployed. A lot of IT and artificial intelligence and big data analytics is involved in the day-to-day running and organization of that city. So you have sensors that monitor pollution. You have sensors that monitor how cars drive around. You have sensors that see how traffic situations and using that traffic situation or road congestion to plan out parking spaces and so on. That's like an application of so basically that's like a smart city. That's the concept of a smart city. And then you have a mix of probably green energy, reducing the carbon footprint and so on. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so somebody's asking a question here. Can you expatiate on big data? Okay, so let me give you a basic understanding of on the concept of big data. Okay, I think I mentioned some of this sometimes last in the last class, right? So you have traditionally it used to be that um, the bulk of data you're handling used to be like maybe 500 MB, 600 MB in proper large organizations, right? But today, the concept of data as it is you have a scenario where you have a lot of data explosion, right? Now, big data is basically extremely large data sets, right? That are they transcend the understanding of basic data processing systems, right? So imagine me as an organization having to process data sets in the excess of, let me see, 1000 terabytes, okay? Your computer, your traditional computer, I'm sure, I don't think there's anybody here whose whose computer has more than 2 terabytes of storage space, right? So imagine me bringing 1000 terabytes of data to you, which is like 1 petabyte, and asking you to analyze that. Of course, it's not something you can handle with your regular computer, right? And it's definitely not something you can handle with Excel. Now, your big data sometimes is in form of pictures, in form of videos, in form of, it could be text too, but text that's really, really large, okay? And because of data explosion, it used to be that back in the days, the bulk of the data we were handling was just text data, okay? Text and numbers. But today you have a wide variety of data sources, a variety of data types that are coming into storage and that need to be analyzed, okay? And you have some of these data that go beyond the understanding of traditional database management, I mean, traditional data processing systems. Okay, so that's basically what big data is all about. You have data that is bigger than what your regular analytics tools or systems can handle. Okay, I hope I was able to give you an understanding of that. I hope so. So, like I was saying, please task three or whatever. I don't even know how many tasks I've given you guys so far, but I'm going to give you another task again. So task three, I'm dropping on the Telegram group now. Read up on smart cities. Okay. I don't even know. I've not been keeping track of the task numbers, but I'm assuming that we have that. So okay, so fine. Going back to our class. Um, that's that for that. Okay, so now big data analytics in financial services is also another area of data of business analytics, or another area of data analytics where you have its application in businesses. So credit scoring, fraud detection, and claims analysis. Credit scoring, for if you've ever used any of these loan services, loan providers, um, maybe Pay Later, Page Finance, Rent Money, and so on. They have a system of gathering data from your mobile phone or from several sources, right? And using all of that data to determine whether you're credit worthy or not. They can use the data they gather from your phone, from your contact details, from your SMSs. I'm sure if you've used any of those platforms before, they ask you at some point to allow access to your mobile device, and then they read through like your messages and so on. They use all the data they can gather about you from your BVN, your bank statements, and everything to determine whether you're somebody they should give a loan or not. They want to know whether you will japa with their loan, or maybe you want to use their loan to apply for Canada visa and enter Express Entry pool and run away. All right. Okay, welcome, Lukman Omoto Show. I think if you're just joining, I think you've missed a bit, but we are going to share. I'm going to share with you at the end of this class, like I always do, the PowerPoint slides. Um, it's not very, very extensive, but this is like part one of this series. We're going to continue part two tomorrow. Um, so, but basically, what you've missed is not so much. We've just been talking basically about data analytics, and then we transcended this into business analytics, and why businesses seem to be the ones who seem to gather the most data and analyze that data and use it for several things. All right. I'm sure if you read through these PowerPoint slides, you would have an understanding. This is not a very technical class. All right. Basically, all I'm just trying to do with all of these introductory classes is to prepare you. The bigger tasks are actually coming. I'm sure a lot of us are actually very eager to dive into, using advanced Excel, using Power BI, and so on. But I want us to have, like I said earlier, there are some of these things that some trainers won't tell you or won't teach you. And I want us to have an in-depth understanding of why we are doing what we're doing. It's not enough to show you how to fish, right? But why are you fishing? You're fishing because you need to feed, or because you need to put something in your stomach. All right. So, like I was saying earlier, so credit scoring in financial services, fraud detection. I mean, from big data, from analyzing data that comes into bank servers, they are able to detect fraud from certain transfer or transaction patterns. All right. I think from what I have gathered, I think there's a fraud detection unit in NIDSS. You know, NIDSS is the organization that is responsible for interbank transfers. Okay, and they have a fraud unit. And I think the responsibility of that fraud unit is to use data to and spot irregular patterns or certain patterns that depict, okay, maybe somebody's trying to siphon money out of the country and so on. Or, it's they can use all of this data to come. So, in summary, right, for all of these applications of business analytics, there's one thing I want you to know, that the field of business analytics is actually very wide and it's growing every day. On a daily basis, there are more listings for data analysts, there are more listings for um, business intelligence analysts, there are more listings for, I mean, when I say listings, I mean job listings, okay? There are more job listings for um, business intelligence, data analysts, and data scientists on a regular basis. And it's because, like I said in the introductory message on the Telegram group, data is the new oil, right? Everybody is trying to make sense of their data and using that data to improve their businesses. Okay, I get data, and in fact, when the whole craze of data analytics started, what we used to sell to companies was that, so you've collected all of this data over the years. We used to call it dark data, okay? Data that they were probably not looking at, or they just collected that they didn't feel made any sense, until people started, coming out and saying, okay, you know what, even this data that you collected that you've not touched in a long time, if we analyze it, we can actually spot patterns in your business that tells you that, okay, you could do this differently or you could do this better based on this. Okay, sometimes people record sales in their stores, and the only thing they care about is the item that was sold, the quantity that was sold, the amount it was sold for, and the profit made on it, right? Nobody was really looking at who was purchasing these things, what period of the year they were purchasing them, how often in a particular period was this item purchased. This was data that was really not being looked into. I mean, they could gather it like, okay, they sold in the transactional database table. You could just have data of all the sales that were made in the year, but nobody was really looking at, okay, how many of so item was sold in so month. Why was that? What's the reason for that? Okay, since we've determined this, how can we plan for the next year and so on? So that was it. So basically, like I said earlier, business analytics, data analytics is a growing field, and you will see more and more organizations looking for people to make sense of their data. So that's that for that. Next, now, of course, I brought to you a practical use case scenario of data analytics in the manufacturing industry. So, you collect data in manufacturing, and you for all the different stages of in the manufacturing industry, you have a way where data that you collect can be used or can be applied into making better decisions. Like with procurement, you've used the data to find more cost-effective suppliers. I mean, you've had different suppliers give you different materials on different occasions, and you could like use skim through all of the data from all of your suppliers to determine, okay, this is the cheapest supplier, or this is the cheapest supplier that won't compromise on quality and so on. Same thing for product development, using the data you have to make innovative design based on demand, right? Let me give you an example. Right? I hope I can actually put up. I try to give examples, real life examples, right, on the fly. Sometimes it doesn't really work well, but I try. Okay, so let's say you are MTN, for example. Okay, you notice that people tend to make more calls in the night. Okay, and then you realize that, okay, it looks like we might actually get more from people who make calls in the night if we reduce the call rates for some people at night. Okay, based on the demand, which is I'm using this in a services based institution now. I'm not even using it for, or let me use, okay, so let me use the car manufacturing industry for example, right? You notice that, okay, more people seem to want car chargers in their cars. More people seem to want to find a way to power on their devices in their vehicles, right? So you come up with an idea to throw in car chargers and USB cables in your next designs, right? These are the kind of things that it's based on data gathered that you make those informed decisions and then improve your products. Manufacturing to find problems that can come up in the machines which affect the quality of the product. Distribution to enhance supply and increase inventory based on demand such as weather. I talked about weather earlier, how weather could impact on supply, or how weather could impact on your distribution, how weather could impact on what you're producing and how what quantity of that you're producing at any point in time. All right. Next thing, marketing, price management, and so on. So this is just like I just brought up this as a use case scenario for how data analytics is involved in your businesses. Now, this is another exercise I want us to really do. Is find out any 5 business problems that need analytics. Sorry about some of these background in my slides. I'm not usually very bad like that. Oh, okay. So I'm getting that I should speak up a little bit. Can you hear me now, Usoma? Is it a little bit better, or do you want me to, pump it up a little bit more? Please let me know if you can hear me very well now, or if you still want me to inject a little bit more volume into my talk. Now, exercise. Find out any 5 business problems that need analytics. Like I said, apologies for the background. I don't usually background like this. I'll edit this slides and send it out to you. Okay. Um, Next. So the big data analytics process, right? Um, so let me bring this back. We said earlier that the data you use for your analytics process is most probably stored in a relational database management system or any data warehouse or any platform for storing data in bulk, right? So of course the first thing is identify where your data is stored. Second is filtering out the required data, which could be through SQL. You could throw in an SQL statement, command to filter out what data you want. Make your analytics using relevant concepts like predictive analytics, sentiment analysis, NLP, machine learning, and image processing. Now, this is the part where I will make a few talk. All right. Predictive analytics, sentiment analysis, natural language processing, and machine learning are part of some techniques you would use for sometimes unstructured data. Okay, sentiment analysis involves going through Facebook posts, for example, and determining what people feel about certain things. It's a bit of machine learning slash artificial intelligence, but that's one type. Then natural language processing. I'm sure you've probably worked with. Some of you have Alexa in your home, Echo, Amazon Echo in your homes, and then you speak to Echo, and then it returns. It speaks back to you. That's like the job of natural language processing. Okay. Machine learning, image processing. So image processing also. I'm sure some of us, when you're trying to sign up to something on Google, and then it gives you a captcha, and it asks you to select all the pictures where you have a crosswalk or something. That's an application of image processing. Okay, these are concepts, or these are techniques in data analytics that are involved in putting up better products or better offerings. Please note, I want to say this. Note that there's a chain of command, right? There was something I did not put out earlier, and I don't think I put it on my slides, but I want you to note 2 things. First of all, there's something I personally refer to as the data lifecycle. You might want to write this down. Your data goes through a particular journey, starting from the data collection, okay, or data gathering. That's like the first step. what does data gathering or data collection involve? Data gathering involves you putting out a web form, you creating a mobile app, you building whatever it is to collect data from people or to collect data from you know machines or from anything. Okay. Now, when all of that data is collected, it's transported into a data storage. So that's the second stage, the data storage. Okay. So, like we said, yes, in the last class, we said the primary data storage platform will be a relational database management system. So, you you've gathered your data, you've collected your data. That's the first stage in the data lifecycle. Then you stored it, right? Now, the very first and second, and really not your business as data analysts, okay? You really don't care about how the data was collected. Sometimes you want to know though, because for the sake of proper analytics and not making wrong decisions based on error in data. Sometimes you just want to know how that data was collected. But you have that data collection, you have the data storage, then you have the data analytics. Okay, that's where the bulk of what you do comes in. Okay, you've extracted all of that data from the storage, you brought it into your own platform to model and analyze, and it is after the data analytics that you go to the next stage, which is using the outcome of your analysis for whatever you want to do. And like we said here, it could either be for making a prediction, for making a decision, or for making a recommendation. Okay. So the data you gather or the data you collect is stored. It's gathered, it is stored, it is analyzed, and then it is used for decision making. All right. Now, it is important to note that there's a very strong correlation between data analytics and artificial intelligence. We'll get into that later, but data analytics is like the foundation for artificial intelligence because the more the data you have, the better your AI system. We'll talk about that in another class. I don't want us to focus too much on AI currently. But you see things like sentiment analysis, natural language processing, machine learning. In fact, all the relevant concepts I put here, tilt towards um, machine learning and artificial intelligence. Anyways, so like I said, the data analytics process. You have your multiple data sources, 1, 2, up until n. That data is ingested and moved into storage. Okay. From storage, it is moved into the analytics process, and from the analytics process, a recommendation, prediction, or decision is made. Okay. So now I talked about this earlier, and some people will tell you types of data analytics. Okay. Some people will call it I think I call it the stages of data analytics or business analytics, right? And I try to like give you an example each. So in descriptive analytics, you have here the information that is present in the data is obtained and summarized. It is primarily involved in finding all the statistics that describes the data. For those of you who are into data analytics now, I think this is the bulk of what you do. Okay. For most of us who use Excel, right? For most of you who use Excel to wrangle your data, this is like the bulk of things you do. Okay. You look at the data your organization has, you throw a pivot table on it, right? And then you come up with statistics basically. You come up with okay, the average number of devices that were bought in the year or over the years, or the total number of devices that were bought last year, or the total number of times a server unit went down. Okay, and you use just that data in a descriptive way. You're just describing the data you have. All right. And like I said, this example, how many buyers bought ACs in the month of December previous years? That's just descriptive. Okay, you have your diagnostic or discovery analytics. Now, this involves finding out the reason for the statistics determined in the previous analytic stage. Okay. Okay, so basically, you have that data. You've seen that okay, there was an increase in sales of ACs in the month of December, or sorry, decrease. Let me see. December is winter, right? That's when there will be a decline in the sales of ACs. Nobody wants to chill out in winter again. It's already cold enough. So why? So that's your diagnostic or your discovery analytics. Okay, why was we've determined during the descriptive analytics stage that okay, less people bought, there were less ACs sold in December of the previous years. But the next stage is to determine or discover or realize why were less ACs sold in this particular time of the year. All right. Next is predictive analytics. Okay. Um, this stage involves predicting the possible future events based on information obtained from the descriptive and or predictive analytics. I'm sorry, and or discovery analytics stage. Also in the stage, possible risks can be involved and identified. All right. Sorry, risks involved can be identified. Now you've found out that okay, over the years we get to sell less ACs in December, right? Does it mean that in the future Decembers we're also going to sell less ACs? So let's not bother stocking ACs in December. You know what? Let's switch up and stock heaters. All right. We've realized that we sold less ACs in December. We've realized that there's a correlation between winter, which is in December, and the sales of ACs. Okay, right? That's our diagnostic. Now, would it still make sense for us to go and stock more ACs in our store in December next year? No. So we use the results that we've gathered so far to predict the future. Okay? That's predictive analytics. Now, prescriptive analytics involves planning actions or making decisions to improve the business based on the predictive analytics. Okay, so we've discovered that okay, um, we get to sell less ACs in December. Okay, fine. How many should we now put in the store? Okay, December last year we stocked 50 ACs, we sold only six. Previous year we stocked 50 ACs, we sold only two. I mean, the year before we stocked 50, sold 36. All right. It means that well, if we stocked 50 3 years ago and we sold 36, the following year we stocked 50 and we sold 10. This year we stocked 50, we sold 5. There's a decline, right? Which means that okay, we can draw a correlation between the fact that there is global warming, there's a change, climate change. Let me use climate change. I'm sorry for those of you who do not believe in climate change. Well, I don't know. That's your business. Me, I believe in climate change, and I feel like something really needs to be done about it. I mean, you see pictures from Canada, and you can see how cold it is. Okay, so but you discovered that 3 years ago you stocked 50, you sold 36. You stocked 52 years ago, you sold 10. You stocked 50 last year, you sold 5. There's a general drop in global temperatures, right, at the top of the equator, and then around the equator we have a general rise in temperature. So it's only logical to say that well, if these temperature drops continue, it will make no sense at all for us to even stock any ACs in December next year or this year. And we can use that money instead to stock up on what heaters during December period. Of course, there's an increase in temperature during the summer periods. So rather than channel all of that money into stocking ACs in December, let's stock ACs in February. Let me give you another example. So my brother works in Kenya Electric, right? And you know, you get to hear, stories about um, how things are done there. For example, if there's revenue collection from a certain area, it's only logical that if there's improved or better revenue collection from a certain area, it's only logical that there'll be more power distributed to that particular area. That's the aspect of prescriptive analytics where you determine that okay, this is this and that. Let's use that information to make further decisions. All right. Now this is not very clear, but I'm going to point it out one after the other. I took this picture from Google, and I'm just going to go through it. Now you have discovery. Do I have enough information to draft an analytics plan and share for peer review? After discovery, of course, after discovering your data, you take it into data prep. Do I have enough good quality data to start building the model? Now, for most data analytics processes or projects, you get to build a data model. All right, you get to build a data model. Your data model, excuse me, your model is where it's just for some those of you who are statisticians here, you know fully well that virtually every statistic project involves you building a particular data model. So you build a data model And I'm going to say this again. One of the biggest problems that a data analyst faces is data cleanup. Um, because the data, and that's under data preparation, sometimes data is not correctly stored. Even in as much as you might have put certain restrictions into how people enter their data on the RDBMS, in as much as your RDBMS enforces certain data types and certain data columns, right? You still have situations where sometimes data is not properly entered. For example, you've limited the data, I mean, you have a column for male and female, right? You didn't put a drop box in it. Somebody has to type in their gender, female and male, and then you find out that in that column for male and female, you're seeing some people write their male as MAIL, or some people writing their female as FEMAIL. Of course, that's like data integrity issues, and you actually sometimes need to do all of that data cleanup before you go on with your data analytics. Anyways, so the data analytics life cycle, you have the discovery phase. It is during that discovery phase you determine whether you have enough information to draft an analytics plan. You move it into data prep. During the data prep, you look through that data and determine if it's of good quality. Okay. Then you move your data from data prep, you move it into model planning. From model planning, that's when you determine if you have the best idea of the kind of data model that you're supposed to implement. All right. After that, you build your model. Okay. Now, is my model robust enough? Have we failed? I mean, have we tried everything we need to try? Okay. And then after building your data model, you communicate results and then you operationalize. Okay. So, um, for some of you who are currently in that role of data analyst, and then I'm sure after you have collected your data, you've done all your analysis, then you put it into probably visualization and then you present it to your organization. Please and please, I'm going to say this: your analysis is as good as the way you present it. Okay, if you analyze data and you cannot present it properly in a way that is optimum enough for decision makers to digest, I think you have failed. Okay, you can go through all of the levels of collecting that data, cleaning it up, preparing it, analyzing it. Whatever results you have come with, if you cannot present it properly, then I think your job as a data analyst is mute. So we are going to get to the point where we're going to talk about data visualization and so on. Okay, but I'll come up to that later. Now I've overshot this class by 13 minutes, but I think I'm soon going to round up. All right. There are some of these things I'm going to actually try to improve on in the slides, and I'm going to share with us. So this is the end of this class. All right, to be continued tomorrow. Um, I know before we said that we were going to limit our classes to 1 hour. Unfortunately, sometimes I just find it difficult not to overshoot, but here we are. So, just a quick roundup. I'm just going to run through everything again, basically. Of course, objectives, we talked about that. Everybody got that. We moved on to smart technologies and how they are like the in-demand thing today. We talked about analytic technologies and where we are applying analytics, right? We talked about the personalized marketing concept where you get data from what customers want and use that to improve their offerings. We talked about a loose definition for data analytics. We talked about business analytics and how it involves taking data from multiple sources, applying certain tools and techniques onto it, and then generating business insights, right? We talked about business analytics and how it involves making business planning and making business insights or RFNA solutions, blah, blah, blah. We talked about gathering data from multiple sources, and we talked about the tools and techniques that you apply on that data. We spoke about the applications of business analytics. We spoke about, in medicine, finance, law, and everything. Data analytics advantages in manufacturing. If you rushed through this, okay? And I told you to find out any 5 business problems that need analytics. We talked about the big data analytics process. We talked about this process where you gather your data, you ingest it into storage, and then you run your analytics on it to do recommendations, predictions, and decision making. Okay? And we talked about the stages of big data business analytics: descriptive, diagnostic or discovery analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. I will like you to please take very serious cognizance of this particular slide. In fact, if you're not going to take anything away from this conversation or this class today, please take this away. Put this at the back of your hand palm. In fact, put it on your left palm, very easy to eat beans or pounded yam later tomorrow. So we talked about the life cycle of the data business analytics project. I am going to expand on this, make it more legible, and I'll share the slides before. Sometimes I tell you I'll share before the end of the day, but it's a little bit difficult for me. But I'll share the slides with you tomorrow. Thank you everybody for attending tonight's class. Thank you for your time spent. We will continue tomorrow because tomorrow is supposed to be our second class, and then tomorrow hopefully we'll start talking about Excel. Okay. Have a wonderful evening. If you have any questions you still want to ask, this is the time. I'm going to give a 3-minute window for questions to come in. And if the questions don't come in, I'm going to be ending this stream. So our 3-minute window ends in 1. That's by 10:50. You're welcome, Lukman Omotosho. Even though you joined in late, my apologies for that. I don't know if you joined in through the Telegram channel link. I think I'll take responsibility for your lateness now. Or else you bear full responsibility for that. Questions, also suggestions in my mode of delivery. If you feel like I talk too fast, sometimes I think I talk too fast. And I think it's because I'm trying to rush this class sometimes. I don't know. At the end of the day also, I'm going to want us to have like a live session, like a live class, one-on-one class where I get to interact with everybody. How do you submit your exercise? Okay, fine, I'm going to create a Google form, and all I just need you to do is put in your name, well, email address, maybe, and then just type your answer. You're welcome, Ridwan. Like I said once again, if you have questions with my mode of delivery, if you want me to improve on anything, please let me know. Let me know very much. Okay. So we have 2 minutes to the end of the question sessions. I'm waiting. I think I can drink water now. Welcome, Adekunle Aliyu. Adetayo Akinsanya, welcome. Thank you very much. God bless you too. Okay, thank you everyone. I'm ending the session now. It was nice to have this class with you. Good night and God bless.